All right, let's talk about A.J. Brown. Because, listen, I really do think A.J. Brown and Saquon Barkley are the 1-2 punch of this Eagles offense. I know there's other guys, great offensive line, Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown. I mean, it's a loaded roster. It is. But I think the dilemma you find yourself facing when you're going up against the Eagles is, okay, Saquon Barkley, we got to put a ton of resources into stopping him. Let's put all of our guys in the box. Let's make sure we stop him. What that now means is you have to have someone cover A.J. Brown one-on-one. And when the Eagles tried that, when the Chiefs tried that the last time they played in the Super Bowl, it didn't go great. Like this one, for example. You see, this is a one-on-one matchup. Now, there's going to be some questions as to who is covering A.J. Brown. This is Joshua Williams, who will not be covering A.J. Brown in this game. But you see here, Brown's able to win. So schematically, that's what can happen. You can get these one-on-one matchups. Brown was able to win those one-on-one matchups in the Super Bowl last time they played. Again, lots should change. Although I will mention that, Trent McDuffie is someone who you could see on Brown at times. In this Super Bowl, we saw that. Trent McDuffie's being an outside corner right here. Now, it's worth mentioning, McDuffie was definitely much more of a slot guy at this point in his career. He has since gotten more reps as an outside corner. So, again, this is where even if the personnel is the same, things can still be different, right? However, as you see when this play begins, honestly, it's not even like A.J. Brown is dominating this play immediately or anything like that. There appears to be some, an opportunity, a one-on-one matchup, throw up a jump ball, why not? But this is why Hurts is going to make this throw. It's a great throw from Hurts, and also Brown's able to make the grab. The reality is, even with good defense, like McDuffie, very good corner, no denying that. But even with good defense, it's hard to cover A.J. Brown one-on-one, and Jalen Hurts does hit him really consistently on those types of plays. So you have that situation. It's difficult. And I do wonder if you put Jalen Watson on him a lot. We haven't seen many reps of those two guys on each other, so can't say too much. Now, I will say, again, if we're going to do the history thing, which, again, I always get conflicted on how much I want to show plays from years ago, because, on one hand, it is the same, a lot of the same coaching staff. The Chiefs have essentially the exact same coaching staff, and, the Eagles are different, but they still have the same personnel, right, or at least similar personnel. So how much do you want to play into that? I don't know. The Eagles and Chiefs played each other last season as well. It did not go great for A.J. Brown, but the guy who locked him down is no longer here. It's L'Jarius Sneed. Watch as in this one-on-one matchup, you see, it's kind of a weird play where really it wasn't open. I think Brown kind of gave up on the route, but Hurts threw it anyway, and because of that, it results in a pick. That's not ideal. Brown only had one catch for 8 yards in that game, so it can be done, I guess is what I would say. Schematically, you can leave him one-on-one and beat him. It's just very rare, and usually it takes a great corner like L'Jarius Sneed. He's no longer here, so is it going to work? I don't know. So let's go over to this game now. This is when the Chiefs played the Texans earlier in the year. That feels like a game we can look at and try and piece together how things could go, because the Texans have Nico Collins, who's just a great wide receiver. He is their A.J. Brown, essentially. The Chiefs are going to go with a, one-on-one matchup with him, and they're going to go with Chamari Connor, who is actually trying to cover him here. That is one thing that is worth mentioning about Kansas City. They don't exactly just do our number one corner is covering your number one receiver, our number two corner is covering their number two receiver. They'll mix things up. Even in that game I showed you earlier, there were multiple guys covering A.J. Brown. It wasn't just one guy. They did put Sneed on Brown for pretty much the entirety of the second time they played, which led to a low yardage totals. But here, you see, it's Connor on Collins one-on-one. C.J. Stroud's going to take the snap, and this is just what Nico Collins does, is he wins this matchup. There is separation right here, and this is what you almost need to have happen if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Because as great as Saquon Barkley is, if you put everyone in the box, okay, maybe he'll still make it work to some degree, but you're not winning the game that way. You're going to need to be able to throw the ball down the field as well, especially when you're playing Patrick Mahomes, I would assume. We've seen in this playoffs that there have been times when teams say, okay, we're just not letting you run the ball, and you have to throw downfield to A.J. Brown, like in that Washington game. So is there a way to stop A.J. Brown? Can he be stopped one-on-one? Well, sure, there are a couple of ways. For one thing, in 2 out of the 3 playoff games he played, he didn't do a lot. Now, I thought he just kind of, he had a couple drops against the Rams, things like that, but I did think the Packers did a pretty good job at covering him. Here's just the issue. You see what Green Bay's doing here? This is zone coverage. It's actually a quarters coverage play. They have A.J. Brown with a one-on-one matchup, though. So you do have a somewhat similar situation, you could argue. Watch how when Hurts takes a snap, you see the corner covering Brown. He's not getting beat deep. That's the one thing he's making sure happens. Even though they're at the 11-yard line, he's still making sure he stays over the top of A.J. Brown. Because if Brown gets by you, you've given up a touchdown. That's just how it works. You can't let him get by you because he's so good at those over-the-shoulder catches. Hurts is so good at making those throws. However, if you stay over the top like this, then it's more difficult. I mean, don't get me wrong. You can hit a curl route. You can hit a slant route. But in this type of coverage, if you try to throw something more underneath, there's help over the middle. So it's harder to do that if you're Jalen Hurts. Again, this is the dilemma, though, of this coverage makes it tougher to stop the run. Do you want that to happen? Also, the Chiefs don't do this kind of thing a ton. But it might just be a good example of if you're playing Brown, even if it's a one-on-one situation, try not to get beat over the top. Now, on this play, Hurts still ends up getting a touchdown out of it. Really good blocking to give him a ton of time there. But still, as a whole, this is kind of what you look at if you're a Chiefs fan. Maybe this is a potential key to success. So, as a whole, listen, whoever's on A.J. Brown, they're going to have a tough time. They just are. My guess is we're going to see a decent amount of, I would assume Jalen Watson takes some snaps on him, and then we also are probably going to see Trent McDuffie get some snaps on him, and we'll see how it works. And they might just, again, they might just put one guy one side, one guy the other, and say, we'll let you pick, Eagles. Who do you want to have go, make that work? And I don't even know what the Eagles would choose in that situation. So we'll see how it ends up happening. That's kind of interesting, as we don't even know really who's going to be on him heading into this game. However, for my final predictions chart, again, if this is the first one of these kind of videos that you've seen of mine, the way that this works is it's really just for fun, but at the end of each video, give a 1 to 5 points to either team based on how much I like the matchups. I'm going to give a 3-point advantage to the Chiefs for A.J. Brown. At the end of the day, A.J. Brown's very good. It's going to be tough to cover him. Regardless of who gets put on him, it's going to be tough. And even if, to me, the best strategies I really do feel like for the Chiefs are how do you limit damage as opposed to how do you win and shut him down. I have a hard time seeing that happen. Hey, I've been surprised before, but that's how I view it. The reason why I'm just going +3 Eagles and not +4 or 5 Eagles is I do think the Chiefs are better than most in coverage, even if what I love about the Chiefs coverage unit is how deep they are, not necessarily, and then McDuffie is a star, but it's just a physicality thing for him. I think he just personally doesn't match up great against Brown because of the size. But they have guys who can at least hold their own and won't get beat every single time, perhaps, even if, again, usually you lose when you go up against A.J. Brown one-on-one. Maybe they will lose less than your average person, but it still feels like that's advantage Philadelphia. So right off the bat, a lot of advantages Philadelphia early on, but of course, for one thing, not all these are created equal. It's just fun. And of course, we all know the quarterback thing, but that's a video for another day. Those are my thoughts on A.J. Brown and how he could play in the Super Bowl. I'm expecting him to have some opportunities in this one. Got to make sure he shows up. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.